What up, party people? Don't know why I'm shouting, I've got a microphone on. Welcome to another e-bike review. Today we have the Touroll J1. What do you get? You get 27.5 inch by 2 inch wheels, front and back. Disc brakes on the front, mechanical disc brakes, still work. Metal mud guards, shock absorber, which is lockable. 36 volt, 15.6 amp hour battery. Flappy grips, bell, throttle that you can put on or off yourself, 7-speed Shimano Tourney, I believe, Shimano Tourney TZ gear set, nice little computer display system, saddle, obviously you get a saddle, be proper uncomfortable if you didn't, 25 kilogram luggage rack, 250 watt motor, metal mud guards on the back. You also get lights and brake lights which work. It's a full-size mountain bike, trekking bike, sorry, my mistake. When you're sitting on it, to get the right leg extension, as you can see I'm on tiptoes, I am leaning forward quite a bit. You can buy a shorter stem, that will eliminate that. But yeah, you are leaning forward quite a bit. Leg extension when you're pedaling is fine. It is what I would consider a large bike. I am Mr. Off the Peg, 5'9" in a fag, about 5'10" on a good day, 32 inside leg. It was comfortable enough for me to ride, but I was leaning forward. I'll bring you in, I'll show you the controls and everything, and then I'll go on a bit of a ride and let you know how it went. So, from the cockpit, there's your paddles. I have noticed that they've started to loosen as I've ridden. Mechanical disc brakes, Shimano, there's the throttle that you put yourself. One thing I have noticed is the only place I could really squeeze that throttle in, could move this over slightly, I'm reaching for it. Having said that, didn't feel the need to use the throttle at all. You've got a stem here, you can buy another one off, what do you call it, what is it? 6 Newton meter, don't tell me nothing. You can get a shorter stem, which will obviously stop the leaning a bit. If you're not quite as short as me, it shouldn't be a problem. Here we have the display, as you can see, perfectly visible in daylight. You can cycle through, it'll tell you your odometer, 24 miles I've done on it today, average, max, time on the bike, etc, etc, etc. Very easy to use. If you press and hold the minus, that will give you a walking assist. Scroll up for the power assist, press and hold to about 3 seconds to turn the light on, press and hold for longer, turn it off, turn it on. What I found with the throttle as well, you can press and hold that and it will give you a cruise control after about 8 to 10 seconds. Little light, it works, it's as good as any of the old bike lights you had. What suspension, it doesn't actually tell me what suspension it is, it does a job. Does the job. Tyres are okay, not going to set the world alight, but they're more than serviceable. Leading reflectors that I hate, I should really take them off, but I'm not keeping the bike. Disc brakes, mechanical, they are Shunfeng, never heard of them. Bike, 250 watt motor in the rear. Not sure what it is, but it is 250 watt. Gives you a 450 watt peak. More rear brakes. There's your luggage rack. Brake light on the back. It does work. All in all, a decent looking bike. As you can see, it's a classical style bike. It's very well put together. There's nothing there that looks cheap. It rides well. You're going to see the riding footage. I'll give you my final thoughts after that. Yeah, lockable battery. It says it's got a range of 100 kilometers. Obviously, that isn't with someone my weight using the pedal assist I use. That'll be pedal assist 1. In real world, I'll tell you after what I found anyway. Yeah, it's all put together well. The welds are good. The paintwork's good. There's not really a lot of negatives about it, apart from what you're going to hear coming up. So, watch the ride footage. I'm going to give you my final thoughts at the end. All right.
So, as always, we'll start off with what it's like to pedal as a bike. Second gear to start. Yeah, it is absolutely just like a normal bike. As you'd imagine, with a 27.5-inch wheels. Although I do need to put a little bit more air in the front tyre. Yeah, cool. Absolutely no problem. Straight up into 7th gear. And we are currently cruising at 16 miles an hour. We're doing 30 miles an hour. It feels stable enough. It's a relatively lightweight bike. Coming in at just under 30 kilograms. The ergonomics of it though, you are leaning forward. It's quite a large bike. I am Mr. Average. 5'9" on a back butt, 5'10" on a good day, 32 inside leg. And yeah, I'm leaning forward quite a bit. Perfectly rideable. It's got a rider height of 5'6" to 6'4", I think. Double check that. 2 metres, whatever 2 metres is. But it's certainly easy enough to ride. Initially, they told me it was a torque sensor, which would explain why the different levels of power is shown being drawn out of the battery, dependent on how much legwork you're putting in. But I can ghost pedal on it, which would say to me it's a cadence sensor. I'll let you know further down the line. Gearing on this bike, again, once you get off your cutout speed, you can't really go any faster anyway, which is the same on a lot of these bikes. The 7-speed Shimano Tourney, oh, it's fresh out of the box, I haven't adjusted anything. Don't hold that against the bike. Yeah, the 7-speed Shimano Tourney doesn't really offer you a top speed over that, which is fine if you want to pootle along. I'm cruising along here, pedal assist 3, 11 miles an hour. I am putting in some of the work. The pedal assists step up again, like all cadence sensors, so it's going to be a cadence sensor, isn't it? In speeds 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 and a half. You can go into the settings and up the top speed. Only gives you a maximum of about 18 to 20 mile an hour, which isn't a bad thing. Also comes with a throttle, which works, but you've got to put that on yourself because it comes as a strictly legal UK bike. But the place you've got to put the throttle isn't really comfortable to use. Perfectly usable, but you are stretching with your thumb. Don't matter because you're not stretching with your legs, not having to pedal. Win some, you lose some, didn't you? Bike seat is a standard bike seat. This, for all intents and purposes, with the exception of not using your legs as much, is just like riding a standard push bike. Almost like a road bike stroke hybrid type. What I will say is the pickup for a cadence sensor, again, is about half a second, but it doesn't deliver blistering power. So you shouldn't get caught out by it. So the lockable front suspension, yeah, it works. Is it the best in the world? No, but it's not an expensive bike. A very easy bike to use. What I would say is, if you like the experience of cycling rather than actually getting from A to B in the quickest time possible with the least amount of effort, then this is definitely a cyclist's e-bike. A little bit of the rough stuff. It has been raining, so we should hit some boggy stuff later. But these gravelly, half rough off-road conditions, no problem. It's like riding an old school mountain bike type thing. There's not a lot to wax lyrical about this bike, purely because it's doing a job. you know, there's nothing I'm asking it to do that it's not. It just brings me back to the old mountain bike. And unfortunately for this bike, I'm not a fan of cycling. The other thing I'd say is there's actually no need for the throttle on this. With the quick pickup that you've got, it does roll really well as well. Rolls a lot better than the fat tyre bikes. So a lot of the time you don't need to pedal. But, you know, yeah, unless you want to cruise round with the throttle, there's no need for it. On a lot of the other bikes I've used, you need it to pull away, they're heavier. As you can see here, I'm not using any power assist at the moment, 15 mile an hour in level assist free. It's no effort. I'm putting a lot of weight on my front where I'm leaning over, and the saddle is violating me. But bike seats violate me. There should be a law, there should actually be criminal charges about bike seat manufacturers entering the public. Because it ain't right. So I'm on a bumpy old route-ridden cycle track at the minute. Front suspension's doing the job, obviously no rear suspension. The addition of a seat post, yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Suspension seat post, that is. A couple of things this bike has got very right. Firstly, on the display you've got battery bars which show you how much battery you have, but it also has a battery percentage display, which is very handy. There's nothing worse than sitting there having one bar and you not know if you've got 20% or 2%. So yeah, that is welcome. Also, on the little controller on the front, you have a USB socket. So, should you need to charge your phone, or you've left your house in a rush or anything like that, you've got that ability. Obviously, it's going to take the power from your battery, unless you're doing a full 100-kilometre ride. I can't see it being a problem. So the brakes on this thing, they're not bedded in yet, they're not the best, but they do work. Hopefully they'll get better with time. And one good thing about it is they're on the right side. So yeah, a lot of these come with them all wonk. So on this, you have got your rear brake on your left, your front brake on your right, as God intended. Don't really need power assist on the flat, so might as well chunk that down. I never do these rides with the intention of saving battery. I ride them as if I'm using it. And as you can see, it's absolutely zero effort cruising at 14 mile an hour. Pedals are in the right sort of position, seat is in the right sort of position. You've got enough room there to give you enough leg extension. Just a shame it's an uncomfortable seat, and the leaning forward. Crank that up for this hill. That was the off button. There we go. Motor kicks in, zero effort. I've not changed out of 7th gear, with the exception of that one hill. And I didn't need to then. But as I say, ride it as if you're using it. And boom. Yeah, very quick response with the motor, but it doesn't jerk you around. It's a nice bike. Fit and finish is okay. Here we are on the bumpy, gravelly stuff. It's a weird looking dog. Thank you. And yeah, it's handling it, not a problem at all. A bit overgrown down here today. You can hear the rattling from the stones flipping up onto the mudguard. Still in pedal assist 3, using half power, doing 12.5 mile an hour. Really not an issue cycling. Keep repeating that over and over, just trying to let you know how it goes as I ride it. What I would say is I would not like to spend a lot of time on this bike. A shorter stem where the handlebars go could well make a lot of difference, just to bring you back to here rather than leaning forward. That is a very personal thing for me at 5'9" and a fag butt. You might like that position. You might like being entered from the rear. Fair play if that's what you're into. I mean, at the moment I am riding on these bits of my hand just to give me a little bit more sit up, which obviously isn't the most comfortable on the hands. It's got the paddle type handle grips. Might have mentioned that before. They are quite hard, but they don't move. They do move if you really try to move them, but they're in place when you're riding. Nothing about this bike feels bad quality, but we'll wait till the end of the review for that, because I might come a shit carter and roll down, get a bit of gravel rash. You never know, do you? You could definitely commute if you don't mind the ergonomics. I mean, it'd be a good little trekking bike. I believe that's what it is, meant for a trekking bike. If you like your cycling, you'll like this bike. I don't like cycling. I know, right? The Isle of Wight's premium e-bike reviewer don't like cycling. Who would have thunk it? Why do you think I'll say yes to e-bikes? So we're coming up to the part that is generally really boggy. We have had some rain, and to avoid the most boggy part, it's like a cobble that these wheels might fall down in between, but they have been working on it. So as you can see here, yep, we'll use the cobbles just to see how these wheels handle it. They've fixed the boggy area. The tyres are okay on this, not going to set the world on fire. They're certainly handling this, not a problem at all. Yeah, I mean, you're feeling getting caught from time to time, but not enough to make you go woo and face plant. It's a good little bike. It really is a good little bike. It's showing about the comfort level for me. So we're on a proper gravelly, potholey road. Yeah, it's handling it well. As I say, suspension ain't going to set the world on fire, but it is doing a job. That seat is still burying itself deeper and deeper. What I am finding with the bike, and this is going to sound all arse about face, but bear with me, it might make sense. I'm getting more of a workout on this bike than I do with the other bikes. And it's not because the bike isn't powerful enough or anything like that. It's because it's easier to use and ride as a bike. You don't need the assistance all of the time. Bit late with a bell there. So on the flats, you find yourself cranking the pedal assist right down and just using it like a bike. Having said that, obviously I'll need to test the battery. So I've always kept a bit of battery on the go, assist on the go. I've currently done just shy of 12 miles and it's showing 71% of battery left. So do the math on that. It had a claimed range, obviously in level assist 1, of 100 kilometres. It's got an unlimited range if you don't use any pedal assist. I don't know why they don't. It does me head in. E-bike companies, stop doing that. Whack it on pedal assist free, get a pleasantly plump person to ride it and give real world ranges. Because let's have a look. 70%, that's 33, 35, about 35, 40 mile the way that I've been riding it, which equates to not 100 kilometres. And I'm a little bit more than pleasantly plump. Again, it's uber bumpy, but you're absolutely fine and sturdy to stand up on it. Pedals are man enough and gripping my feet. I do have hiking boots on. Whether or not that makes a difference, now you know what I've got on my feet. So yeah, standing up does eliminate the intrusion to the rear. What a beautiful little island I live on. I've eaten
A lot of bugs this morning though, I can tell you that for nothing. It's the trouble with getting up early and doing these things. They're all about. What I'm going to do from this point in is crank it up to 4 and 5 to see how the battery lasts for the last 10-15 mile. Alright, with the handling of this bike, I've got to try and figure out how to explain this, sounding like I know what I'm talking about. It does handle fine. I'm not sure if it's because the rake of the handlebars are quite straight, but I think that if you were to turn sharply, you may get into a situation where you're oversteering. 2 seconds, bloke with a dog. Thank you, mate.
Right.
Yeah, just a couple of times earlier when I was going around a couple of tight corners, I just noticed it, that I had to compensate back the other way. It's not in any way dangerous or anything like that, but the other bikes I've been testing recently, I mean, I've been able to throw them around like nobody's business. Might just be the case I'm back to a classical style mountain bike, touring bike, road bike, whatever you want to bleed and call it. It's a bike. Does that make sense? Hope it makes sense. You know, every day's a school day and that. So the brakes have got progressively better now they're bedded in a bit. Just make sure there's no one up me Kyber. It stops you as they need to stop you. Yeah, mechanical disc brakes. No frills again, they do a job. Just an update. As I said, they wasn't very good at the start and they have got better. I tried with these reviews to look at the bike for what the bike is actually meant for, not how the bike makes me feel. Because if you're looking at this review for this sort of bike, you want to know that it does what you want it to do, not what... 2 seconds. Thank you. Not what some fat middle-aged bloke with a sensitive tush thinks of it. Because for a lot of people, what I don't like about the bike ain't going to bother you. And to be fair to it, apart from the ergonomics and the seat and the top gearing, you know, it's a good bike. It really is a good bike. Bleeding mozzies. And look, I'm cruising along 17.5 miles an hour, putting in next to no effort. Yeah, nice place to be. Just gonna need a saddle on my hoop. So now for the last big climb of the day, big long, starts off gradual, then gets steep hill. See how it fares. Through the other hills I've tried today, not all of them recorded for obvious reasons. I'm lazy. You do have to put work in on these hills. It definitely gives you assistance, but when you get to the top of a hill, you have worked through your gears, you have cranked up the full pedal assist, and your legs do know that they're putting a shift. So I'm currently on, say, 5 to 7%, gradually getting steeper into about a 10%, and this is where it starts to burn a little. Go down into 5th. It's coping with it fine, but as I say, I am also helping more than a little. Oh, it's just what I needed. Come on, car. Come on, car. Does help me pull away from the off. Down in 4th and 3rd. It starts evening off in a moment. Done 23 miles. Battery's showing 38% left. Bearing in mind I'm climbing and it's saying that. So I'm using quite a bit of battery currently. A little bit out of breath just because the effort I'm putting in. Still a damn sight easier than cycling a normal bike. And there we go. So yeah, you definitely do get a workout riding this bike, and it gives you a little bit of help where needed. 250 watt motor. You can't expect much more from it. Again, it ain't the bike's fault, it's the fault of the UK law. Right, we will go for a little bit of a dirt tracky off-road stuff here, just to see how it fares. This camera won't do it justice. There are ruts and stuff like that. And sod's law. Thank you, mate. Right. Cheers. Okay. And into the steeper, rough stuff. So if I'm going to go for a Burton, it will be here. Now, to be fair, handle's absolutely fine. Brakes slow you up. I didn't anchor on then. As you can see by the way my camera's getting pulled down, just how bumpy it is. Happy days, not bad at all. So I've done 25 miles on this now. On the whole, it is a bike for cyclists. So it would be great for commuting and stuff like that. It's not too heavy. It comes in at just shy of 30 kilos. It's manoeuvrable. It does what it says on the tin. I have found that I've put more effort in today riding it than I have the other e-bikes, which isn't a bad thing. It's just different to what I'm used to. If you're looking at the review for this bike, you want this style of bike. So putting in the effort going up the hills, you definitely do have to, but you do get assist. You are able to cycle it without the pedal assist when you get up to the speed a lot easier than the fat tyre bikes because of the nature of the wheels. It does roll really well. It handles fine, as I did say, I believe, in the ride footage. I can't remember. It was at least 20 minutes ago. With the rake of the forks going down, you could get into a tendency of oversteering when you're going through tight little chicanes and stuff like that. If you're used to riding these sort of bikes, it won't be a problem. I think it's just where I've ridden all the other ones recently. It's a little bit different. At no point did I feel unstable. I could easily correct it. After 25 miles, I am currently sitting on 42% battery. So if you were to do the maths on that, you're looking at about 40 to 50 miles range real world use, which isn't too bad. So that's about 80 kilometers top end rather than the 100 that they stated. Brakes work absolutely fine. The seat, what can I say? Kill it with fire. I don't like bike seats at the best of time. This isn't the worst bike seat I tried, but it is a proper bike seat, and yeah, I need a good rub down off the good lady when I get home. What else? As I said, the handles, they're stiff enough to hold your hands, but you can twist them. They do loosen up. Throttle, a little bit uncomfortable to use. You don't need to use it. The way that the cadence sensor on this kicks in, it is pretty quick, and it is easy to pedal without the use of pedal assist. So the throttle is pretty redundant. Obviously, if you want to sit there 15 mile an hour through traffic, to do that, you will have to unlock the bike, which is very simple to do within the computer. Throttle comes disconnected. You have to connect it. It takes 2 minutes. You could shift all this around and make it a bit more ergonomic to use. Shimano Tourney suffers the same as most Shimano Tourneys. Some of the companies have got it right. When you're in 7th gear, you only realistically get 18 to 20 mile an hour before you're pedaling too fast. So even if you're above getting pedal assist, you're only really going to be going about 18 mile an hour anyway, which is fine if you're commuting, if you're on a long trek. The biggest issue I had with this bike, and again, it isn't a fault of the bike, it's what the bike is a position when riding. I found myself using that part of my hand, ball of my hand, I don't know what they're called, just to give me that little bit more extension. I wouldn't like to be sat on this bike for too long. What else can I really tell you about the bike? It's a good bike, without a shadow of a doubt. And for what it's made for, it does everything it's meant to do. I'm really trying not to be critical of the bike for what the bike is. Because if you're looking at this, you want this sort of bike. It's not my favourite sort of bike, I'll be honest with you. It rolls really well. When you're not pedalling and going downhill, or you've got up to speed and you're rolling, it rolls absolutely fine. Those tyres do a grand job. They don't look like, you know, premium tyres, but they don't look like the cheapest tyres. It's a very budget-friendly bike. All in all, there's not a lot wrong with it. There's not a lot wrong with it, just not my style of bike. I sound a bit negative about it, don't I? Not meant to. I can only be honest. Everything they've done works. It's a nice looking bike. It's a functional bike. There is nothing wrong with the bike, other than the fact it's not my style of bike. I'm not a cyclist. That's why I get to review e-bikes. I don't like cycling. This is a cycling experience with some help. It will easily do after you've unlocked it, 18, 20 mile an hour with assist. And as I say, you can use a throttle and get up to 18 mile an hour. It will cruise, not a problem at all. When you get the hills, you are cycling through the gears, you are putting in effort. The Touroll J1 for all your trekking needs.